Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Code Chronicles. We are doing the do. Okay, so first of all, for those of you who are new to the Code Chronicles, welcome. We are building a task manager currently. A lot of progress has been done in the other 30 some odd episodes. Let's talk about roughly what I want to do today and what I've done kind of behind the scenes since the last episode. I cleaned up some of the reactivity problem. Every time we came back to the dashboard page, we had an issue with the project categories thing popping up, all these additional categories. We had no problem with the overall, which is the overall project's completion being measured here. And then we also configured a lot of the reactivity and issues around our new bar chart component, our fancy dancy bar chart component. And I added you can delete the categories associated to that task from the dashboard page as well. So let's just make a new category. We'll call it new cat. And let's pick the low priority. We could say category, new cat. We'll go ahead and pop it in the done column. So we should see our overall task thing pop up, the first card that says overall. We should see more of those pop up. Or excuse me, there should be more. It was 66.67%. We should see like a little bit more, 68%, 67, 70%, something like that. In addition to that, we should see our bar chart component have an additional add to it. And then we should also see a new category pop up on the cards. So let's see. I believe we have this being higher. We are at 70% here. And then we should see new cat as boom, as one of the cards. Perfect. Sweet, sweet. I'm starting to think we should maybe have the overall be its own kind of card and then have the rest of them be blue or even a separate component for them or something like that. Haven't thought it out fully. Like the overall could be like the big daddy, if you will, on top of it. And then underneath you could see all the categories or something. Maybe that would be an appropriate task because I think this could be a little bit misguiding or easy to overlook. But let's just double check, making sure that this bar chart is working. I'm going to pop this task object completed count right here. Boom. Let's see. So we got 4 on the day. So this bar chart, it's checking for today, for or the last week technically of what work's been done this week. So every task that we send off with this, we'll add this to our new cat category. Every task that we send off to this has a timestamp associated with it. And the timestamp is what's tracking all of this data here. Boom, and it worked. 5 tasks have been done today. But the side numbers are not being proper because it should say 5, not this. So I believe that's going to be this one right here, max numbers. I was kind of struggling with it. Let's do a little debugging, a little fun debugging right now. So that's the height, max line increment, number increment. Okay, that's what we want to talk about. So number increment. What if we did ceiling, or instead of ceiling, we did the floor? What would that be? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Boom. That looks about appropriate. Okay, so it might have been just a simple solution. So max numbers is 8. That's just how many numbers I want to show on the side of the column. So if we change this to 4, we should only see 4 numbers populate. 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So I'm using that to determine the number of numbers here and the number of lines. Could honestly compile the two and say number of sections or max sections probably. Actually, we could streamline that. Boom, let's see. So we're going to see that error, and then of course the max numbers error. Boom. Okay, now we should be all up and running. Just give it a sec to re-render. So that way we can just go to one place and say max sections. If task completed, we'll pop this into here as well, so we don't have to monitor it too much. So if we just want to change the number of sections, boom, it's as easy as that. You just change the sections, it handles everything else. Boom, easy as that. If we want 25 sections in that little space, it'll somehow make them. Obviously we have a bug there and we won't ever do that, but But, like 7 lines, that sounds about appropriate, something like that. And everything auto increments too. So it should, in theory, if we have 5 tasks done, let's say we complete 2 more tasks today, it should in theory, put this in the test category, that's fine, and low priority. In theory, it should, so that should be our 6th task done today. Let's put a 7th done. Let's try that, and let's do an 8th. It should auto start counting the lines differently. So let's look at it. Let's see what it does. 7 tasks done. Maybe we had an issue. Oh, we put them in the to-do column. Pop it over here to the done column. Let's see. Because it's doing a math.floor, math.ceiling, so it still should be, 8. Okay, that's a problem then. So we're not doing it then correctly. It looks like we need both the math.ceiling and the math.floor. So I think what needs to happen is this variable. Let's just double check. Yep, math.floor. So this is more appropriate of what it should be doing. Here we have the array object length. I believe this is the total task completed right here. So we can actually just pop that in there, I believe. Let's say total task completed. But that's still not the right height. So we might need to kind of put that in as a little bug for now. 8 tasks done. Because we do want that accurate. Precision is proper. So I think what we want to do, it looks like if line increment, these are really just the same thing as well. So if we did line increment, that still should do it. So this should just be a section increment, right? And we're obviously gonna have some errors here. Boom, 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 okay. And let's see. So it's loaded. We have 0 tasks done down here. 1. I guess we can keep the +1 just to show this number is 1. If you see something on the board, that's 1 task done. But I don't like how we have 8 tasks done today. Test category is not completed. Our overall is more completed. I do want to get that overall done. That's kind of a smaller bug I can handle behind the scenes, like this bar height. It looks like we're going to have 2 different measures. I'm going to need to do the math.floor, I think, for anything. If there's less task than the number of sections, use the math.floor. If there's more for section increment, use the math.ceiling. So I think what I need to do is set a piece of state section increment. Let's see. Guys, I had a fantastic day today. Like a lot of work done. There's some good news. Don't want to share it quite yet, but there's some good news. There's some good news, folks. And we are going to set the section increment to this. Section increment is now going to be set based on the place its end. So I think what we want to do, how do we do this? Number is not assignable to type undefined. Well, let's go ahead and make it a number then. No problem there. Section increment should be possibly defined. We'll always keep it at 0 then. We'll initiate it there. I think that might fix our problem. Potentially. Let's take a beat on it though. Too many re-renders. Renders to prevent an infinite loop. Weird. Okay. What's causing that issue? Is it our new section? So let's set it. Okay, that is causing it. All right. I'll put that on as a bug on the back burner. I'm not terribly worried about it. Thought that would work a lot better, to be honest. But from my understanding of what we need to do is, Yeah, because I'm measuring it initially based on just out of 10, basically, like out of 7. If there's 7 sections, the height is being calculated 1/7, right? Does that make sense? But if the height starts getting counted by 2s or 4s because of the 8, for instance, because we went past 7, we need to auto adjust the numbers so they start counting by 2s or whatever it might be, maybe 3s, maybe instead of 7 tasks, it's like 70 tasks. So then we need the numbers to start counting by 10s instead of 2s or 3s or even 4s. So I'll have to think about that logic. I'll let that marinate. I'll sit on it. I'll sleep on it. I'll let my brain do the thing it does. But let's pop over to this base project completion component. And we are going to make the big daddy one, I think, first, the overall, and then show the little guys under it. I think that would be a really, really cool kind of thing, to be honest. So what I could do is break this entire thing out into another component, or I could do it all within this component. Not really sure what I'm thinking right now. Project completion cards. What I could do, looks like we have base pie chart. I could, let me think about it. I could say, if index does not equal 0, and I think that would potentially, why is that not working? Well, in my mind, that worked perfectly. I promise you, it worked flawless in my brain. Can you not do conditionals in the... Let's wrap it in a fragment then. So then we have something behind it to... Yeah, okay, maybe that's all it needed. So if index does not equal 0, because that's going to be our overall, let's use this all for this. So now we should see all the other categories and not the overall, not the first indexed category. And then what we can do, project completion cards, we'll say project completion cards, or how about project, maybe we'll rename it to category completion cards. And then we're just going to do the same logic, right? Or very similar logic. I think this is the quickest way around it. We'll say overall completion card for this one. Overall completion card. Let's remove our condition. And we should see that overall pop back up. Oh, well, when we use it, of course, we haven't used it. So let's pop it in here wherever we want to use it. Just pop it right there for now. So we see it back there. But the difference is now we can drag this one over here. We can drag it over here. We can drag it over here. We can drag it wherever we want, folks. We have a new completion card. And in fact, what I want to do, I could say projects at the 0th index for this one. Guess we don't really need to map it. We could just say project at the 0th index and handle all this. Or, you know what, let's undo some of these things real quick. I'm going to do the quick and dirty hack way of it, and then let's optimize later. So the problem there was it was showing all the cards. Let's just show just the one. Boom. There we go. There we have it. So I don't want it there. I don't want it there. I want it up top on top of it, kind of like this, kind of like this. And we're going to need to configure the base chart component, all that stuff. But fundamentally, this seems like it's going to be a much more, how do I say it? You can see it really easily. Okay, you know what? Boom, that's our overall project. That's what we're doing here. And here's all of our scrollable, things below it, right? Does that make sense? Does that kind of make sense? So you could easily see, that's what our project's done. And then here's our project categories beneath. So that's kind of my thought on this. Let's put a closing tag of an H2 here. Project completion, I'll say project or category completion. And we could say similar thing at done. That's fine. We'll say overall project completion, I guess. Overall project completion here. Say project completion by category. How about that? Project completion by category. Boom. And maybe we can add this stuff down here, like measuring by the done column. Maybe it can be the overall right there, and then something else on the right side. Or we could just make it a bigger thing right here, right? Because you know, there's pun intended 10 different ways to cut the pie. Pun intended, folks. Pun intended, right? So, but the problem we're going to be kind of facing is if this width and stuff is configured within this one, but I don't think it is. I think it's configured here potentially. Let's see. 52. Looks like it is. Oh, that's just the external though. Okay, so what we can do is pass in a optional prop called main chart, and all this prop is going to do is just ask the question, is this the main chart? Question mark. It's kind of it, main chart, and let's make it conditional so it doesn't throw an error. This is a Liskov solid programming principle, meaning the new function we're adding should not affect the old functionality we're adding. Let's see what the error is. It's assignable to type string. Well, it shouldn't be type string. Oh, I see. That was the wrong component. Forgive me. But the Liskov principle in building something this way, at least putting a conditional right here, right, where we say, okay, we also want, where was it? Let me remove the base chart here. Let's go back to the project percentage. We want the main chart. We also want this thing right here, getting an error because we didn't pass it in. So this would be doing it properly, right? Saying, okay, everything needs to pass in this conditional, but then we're breaking it because we have to go to the other base chart and now put in false for this, right? To let us know that those aren't the main charts. I don't like to do that. One thing you can do is just make this conditional, and it should remove the error up here. And there it goes, boom, it's gone. Saying you can optionally pass in this prop. And all we're going to use for this prop being optionally passed into our chart component, it's just going to change the heights and the widths and kind of the chart as a whole, if you want to think of it that way, right? So let's figure out kind of where our chart heights and widths and stuff are. I'm vaguely questioning why I did that. Oh, I see. I have an internal and then an external one too. So here's what it looks like we're going to need to do is wrap this. And if it's the main chart, we want to change all the CSS here. So there's probably going to be a more effective way to do this, but we are a bit on a time crunch. So we are going to do it this way. And that's already made it much, much larger. Let's just do a little bit larger. And you could see we need to do more. So it's also we're going to need the same style effect, if you will, down here as well. So let's grab this. We're going to wrap it in an object, and we will pop it there and pop it there. And let's see, 28. We can maybe make these 24. Let's see what that does, right? Boom. So that cuts our inner circle properly, making it a little bit larger. And we can maybe even do more, right? We could say 36. Maybe even 40, right, for this. And then these should be, I think, 32. I think they're just off by 8. So that cuts our middle circle proper. Now we need to do the same down here for this stuff. So let's go ahead and wrap this. Call main chart. We'll go boom there. And what will this be if we're using main chart? 40. guys, and I guarantee there's a better way to do this CSS wise, and I don't know how to conditionally render CSS as well on here versus Nuxt and React or Nuxt and Vue. I don't know how to do it. I don't know if it's styled classes. I don't know if it's, you know, this thing or that thing. Okay, let's get it right though. Let's see what our conditional classes are. So 28, 28. I think what's going on now is we now need to adjust the main chart sizing. So 36, 36. Let's think if it's 8 more than 28. What is 8 more than 40? We could say maybe 48. Maybe that'll help us out here. Boom. There we go, folks. Come on now. Who's doing this? Huh? Who's doing this, right? So that's our delete button, which we don't need for overall. So we can actually take this bit of logic out. We no longer need that in our overall card. Actually don't need to conditionally render it in this one because this one will only show what that bit of logic was just showing that button or not showing it. But we can take that out. We could streamline a little bit, and let's. I honestly envisioned it to be a little bit larger, to be honest, guys. So let's do. Let's increase this a little bit. So we're actually going to make this one 48, and let's make this one 40, right? Let's do the same here. These need to be 48. And these need to be 40. And of course, our externals, I think, is getting a little wonky. But actually, that honestly doesn't look very bad. If it was like that and it didn't follow the category ones, honestly, not opposed. That actually looks really good. Let's just go ahead and pop this up to 8 plus this. This would be 56, I believe. And that's how it should look. But it honestly didn't look very bad, being just a full-on chart like that. I'm not opposed to that, folks. Not at all. But we will sleep on that, make that decision later. Let's go ahead and center it now. I think that's the next thing we want to do. I'm not sure why it's not centered. We have flex call, relative. Maybe we need to do this here. Justify center, item center. Let's see, not start, we want center. Boom, just like that. Maybe we don't want this as full. We have rounded full, but maybe we don't want the actual thing, right, to be, you know what I mean, the actual card to be way over there. So what we can do is still do a similar thing here. Say item center, and it'll pop it all over. But I wasn't opposed to it actually looking off to the left like that. That's kind of sleek. You know what I mean? So I like it. I like it. I like it. I like it. Shows us our overall production here, and then we also have. Oh, you know what I could do in the junior chart, or the bigger chart. We could also ask the question, if we're showing the main chart, show the same bit of CSS. We just want larger text. That's all, because it's the main chart. It's the main guy, right? Maybe on these little guys, we even want smaller text, right? Boom. Seems appropriate. So I like it. I like these handmade components, guys. I really do. Let's pop in a base pie chart. How much time are we in? We're in 24 minutes. Awesome. Excuse me, I'm in base bar chart. And let's get rid of this for right now. We have a ton of renders right here. We could go. Wonder why we're console logging that. That's interesting. Now these ratios seem a little bit off because this seems thinner. These seem thicker now, just in contrast, right? But not the end of the world. I think we just need to do different ratios for the little guys because they're off by 8 and 8, right? So maybe the little guys just need a little bit less. They don't need 8. What else can we do for 20? We could do 24. Maybe that's what we need. Nope. Base project percentage. Here we go. Let's see, width. Boom. Let's go 32. Let's try that. See what happens. No, I think I'm messing with the wrong thing, right? Chart style, I believe it is this one though, right? 28. Oh, that's fine. We'll leave it for now. I don't know what happened with the guy popping back over to the middle. We don't want that. That is not what we want. We want that big daddy top dog right there. Boom, letting us know the overall project completion. And then we have all of our subsidiary kind of guys below it. Guess we could also make a skeleton loader, but not the end of the world, right? So boom, let's see. Skeleton loading, boom. Right. We'd obviously need to adjust the skeleton loader, but there's something there, so we'll leave that out for now. That's fine. Boom. Guys, I like it. We have kind of more just proper functionality. We can see this. I honestly wanted to move the task table over here. But I don't know. Maybe there's an opportunity to kind of organize some of this stuff a little bit better. I don't know what we need for the chart, the bar chart component, but we definitely need something, right? And after kind of configuring all this stuff, I think the next step we want to do kind of for maybe the next 5 to 10 episodes is figuring out the users, right? That might be what we want to start gravitating towards after kind of streamlining some of this, maybe fixing the reactivity on some of this stuff. I spent a lot of today debugging and fixing the problems on the dashboard page. I think I need to fix a few problems over here, but we're almost there. And just stuff like this, like build out that column fully, clean this little drop down up a little bit. Yeah, I think we're getting there though, folks. We really are. The thing with users, what we're going to get out of that is images, and we're going to be able to kind of configure teams, I think. And then I could probably honestly start shipping the product roughly after that, right? If we can configure users and the users pool, maybe I can separate the teams and the projects from it still. So a user can just use the dashboard as is, just a personal dashboard for their own projects. And then I can start unveiling new functionality as time goes on, right? But I think we're getting there. I really do think we are. So let's pop into the base bar chart. I'm gonna do this real quick. Margin bottom here. We can actually say this. We'll say last week's task, right? Maybe something like this, but it doesn't really look proper. Compared to the other things, it still looks a little bit interesting, right? Let's maybe go into our bar chart and start to manage some of it. Height 58, margin top 8. We don't want that. We also don't want MY8. We just want, boom. Last week's task, it still just looks funky, right? Doesn't look as clean as some of these other things. And I think what we want to do is maybe I can wrap this in the background. No, that doesn't look right? No, let's not do that. Let's think about it, right? Maybe it needs a better title. Maybe it needs a little something thought out here, right? Last week's task, something like that. We could say margin top 8. And we can go ahead and do margin bottom 4. Or not. That doesn't look very good, right? Or, you know, it looks fine, right? It's not the best thing, but it's not the worst thing, right? Just kind of, I don't know. But maybe this is what they all needed, was just a little better title, right? So we'll say my task, I believe it was. We have team meetings for this one. Let's go ahead and pop that there. So that does make it look a little bit more of a proper thing, I think. I think that does us a lot of goodness right here. So base project percentage. Looks like we need to either put these titles, I think, in all these other components, which I'm not opposed to do. So let's go to base bar chart, right? Boom, put it in here, get it out of that, right? So that way we're kind of cleaning up this whole deal. And I like that. I like that, to be honest. I really do. Okay, so let's see what else we can do. I've got maybe about 5 more minutes, guys, and then I need to pop off. But I do like this. Maybe we'll just keep on this and clean up a bit more this project page, right? So title text. Let's see. This one's gonna be a little bit different. Let's go to one of our things. Steal our title. We're gonna pop that here. Title text. And we do want to steal this span, right? So let's get rid of that. Boom. And let's go down here. Let's do a similar deal. And I think we're just doing project completion by category is the by category. Boom. Okay. Let's try to re-render everything. Make sure we're still looking proper. We lost our overall. I must have deleted it in my frenzy of building this, and I did. There it is. There it is right there. So, oop, there it is. Oop, there it is. All right, let's see. Where's the issue? Where's the issue? Oh, I went too far on the div. Let's see. Low power, 20%. Uh-oh, folks. Uh-oh, folks. I'm moving. Project completion. I've lost a few episodes, by the way. I know people probably don't see them, but let's say project categories. How about that? Project completion, boom. I've lost a few videos because my phone dies, someone calls, something like that. And I've been putting my phone on airplane mode at times when I record. People get concerned. Yeah, it's been a challenge at times, if you will, right? Base project completion. I'm starting to think we should do something a little bit more fancy with this rather than just putting an at the span, right? You know, or like according to, it's pretty much what it is. According to done, you know, according to the done column, right? Pretty much what we're saying. Maybe we could build something, a little bit of jewelry there, like a little badge or something. We'll think about that, not right now. And then I guess we don't really need it there too. That's kind of redundant, but maybe not, right? Maybe we'll get that badge going there. Yeah, maybe we'll make it a drop down where you can select what categories you want to see in a column. That's a cool piece of functionality. And then the overall project completion will be measured by that column as well. So, ooh, that would be a cool piece of functionality. So you can click it and see, okay, which column do I want to see? Boom, 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 boom. And then this is how you click it to change the completion. Yeah, we're definitely going to build for that at some point, folks. That would be cool. That would be pretty cool. So, but yeah, this looks a lot better. I like this. Last week's tasks. My tasks, right? We could see everything here. I was thinking about popping my task over here because I do want some separation. If we look at this, I do want some. I don't know. I feel like these all need to be wrapped actually in the middle. Now that I'm looking at it, we definitely need to wrap this all in a wrapper. but it should be in this in-app layout, which shouldn't let things go that far away. It should only be max width 1440. So I'm curious on how that's working, right? Because that's definitely larger than 1440 on both those columns, right? Meaning all this content should be here on the page. So you guys see the camera view, it's taken up like here's the stuff over here and here's the stuff over here. It should always be close. 1440 is like especially on this big monitor, it shouldn't be that far apart. So we'll need to configure some of that stuff as well. 14, yeah, it should be something like this, right? Where even if we're close, it does this, and then if we go out here, you know, it doesn't get too wild. But the point I was going to make was I don't want to see the charts too close to each other. I think when you have too much noise, if you will, it kind of clutters up stuff, right? It takes away from the effectivity of it. So maybe there's some opportunity here as well to kind of build and think about some more layout stuff. But I love that we do have the Kanban page working properly. We can add our columns, we can delete them, we can add task, and we can see the project completion and kind of see a bird's eye view of the dashboard. So we are getting about to that place of like it's probably about time to start integrating users. Because the team card, this component, right, this team meetings card really doesn't exist without users anyway. So this is kind of our application as a whole right now. And I guess we could just kind of keep building out. So let's think for that. And yeah, but I will wrap it up here. Well, what else are some last minute things that we could do very quickly? I think this could be its own kind of nav area, if you will, right? All that stuff should probably be its own navigation. So we could stash that into a component. Say base navigation, but we already have a nav. We have a breadcrumbs thing, right? So I'll say base dashboard navigation, right? Basically, I want the pages to I want the pages to what's it called? Just to handle like organization of components. Basically, I don't want the pages to be too heavy-handed on some of this other stuff, right? So I don't want the pages to be all noisy and have you know, whatever it might be, right? So let's get these here. Delete, boom. Assets, let's get to the assets folder. I think it's just this, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, so that should be our base dashboard navigation component. We can go ahead and rename it as well. Base navigation component, boom. And that way we can just pop that in here. Oh, accidentally copied and pasted. Oops. Boom, here we go. Okay, so that navigation component's back. We're gonna have kind of this intro component, and then this is just our page layout. This is, I guess, our teams component right here. But do you see how the whole thing's getting a lot more cleaned up that way? This would be like our base team meeting component, I guess. Base teams meeting, base team meeting, one of the two. TSX, boom. So let's go ahead and build that out. And it'll make sense when, well, as the application continues to grow, right? Because it's going to be this thing where, hold on, let me get rid of this, boom, boom, boom. It'll make more sense as the application continues to grow, because we're going to get more and more complexity. And it's not that we can't manage all these things on this page. It's more so that you don't want to. It becomes more and more of a headache, right? Like especially when you look at like our base columns, right? Base columns is a great example of it's getting pretty dicey over there, right? Like let's go look at it. We have a lot of material packed in here. We did actually start the project with it decoupled from itself, but for reactivity purposes, and it's fine. I can manage this with the popovers, and the modal content is largely what's taking up majority of this file. So if we close all the modal content, and I'm not going to make modals for each one of these, I'm going to make the content where it needs to be. But if you close all the modals, now we look at a file where if you take out, let's see how many lines, from 70 to about 300. So you're looking at about a 150 line file. It's much more manageable, with exception of some of this stuff that we're still working on. But you don't want your pages to have that much logic of 400 or 500 lines of code in your page, and that's just like one component. That's our base columns component. Granted, the Kanban page is largely that, but like imagine if we put all of this, base project percentage, like all of this is 200 more lines of code. If we put all of this into this page, on top of the other stuff, on top of the other files, you're going to end up with like 1,000 lines of code, and it's dense. You know what I mean? It's tough to maintain. It can be tough to debug and problem solve. So this is what I've found for it to be a little bit effective, but I'm also unafraid of making larger files as well, is what I'm trying to communicate. Like I have no problem doing this as well. This is maintainable to me. This is something that I can look into and not be intimidated by. But I do not want to do it on the pages because the pages are a little bit more, right? Okay, so let's see, base team meeting component. Let's pop that in here where it needs to go. I believe it was right here, something like that. Base team meeting, was it here? Let's maybe remount the DOM, maybe just something like that. Okay, base dash, boom. Okay, it is. It's just in the wrong spot. But that way, when we start dealing with users and stuff, we could just go to the meeting component and see, okay, this is what we need to manage. This is where it's at. We don't need to worry about stuff too crazily, right? We'll go ahead and make this MY for us, so margin top and bottom. But it does look better when it has more margin on the bottom. So maybe we'll do MB8 for these things, right? So it gives us a little space. Then we need it for the task table as well. Bar chart. Let's see, can we just pop that here? Nope, we cannot do that. We could do gap y-4, I think would be the appropriate amount, but I don't want it to do it to the top either, right? So I guess we can remove that, and then looks like that'll work. Gap -8. Boom. Boom, right? Nope, that's not what we want. That's not what we want. Margin top 8, and then we can just go ahead and wrap this in a div for now. Or is there a way where I don't need to do this in a div and I can just... No, this is the left side of our component. That's right, I forget. I forget, folks. Forgive me. We'll get rid of the MY8, maybe. We'll go margin top 8. I think is what we need. Okay, boom. That's what we needed, folks. So boom, we got our margins proper. Good morning, username. View your project progress and updates in real time. Nice. And it looks like all of this component needs to go a little bit higher because I don't like it being down here. It needs to be much higher in my opinion. Seems that way. PY4, let's do that. Give us a little space there as well. And let's see, so this is gonna be our good morning component. I think that needs to be separate from kind of our stuff down here, right? I think all of our stuff down here is all of our like, what do you call it? All of our, let's see, margin bottom 4. We actually just want margin bottom 8, I believe. No, we want margin bottom 8 right here. That's where it is. Okay, so we want all of our call it data components. Like I think right here, I think that's good organization. And this will end up being more than just the project completion component. We might have a few more things. We're gonna have a calendar, a notification system, all those things. So let's just build out our div for it now. This is kind of gonna be our layout, if you will. And then let's clean this up. This will be our good morning component. I'll say base introduction component, right? Something like that. Let's go to our template. Boom. Let's pop it in there. Boom. Base introduction. Let's introduction. And similar deal here. Base introduction, and we want to pop that right here. We could even probably put it in our navigation potentially. But that cleans up our dashboard page a ton, folks. So I really enjoyed it. I think it looks a lot better now, especially from a DX standpoint, a developer experience standpoint. I think we're dealing with a much better and cleaner just page where, okay, if we need to deal with something, we want to build or deal with something in our project completion component, let's go to the project completion component. Let's handle it there. If we need to handle something in our bar chart component, like that bug I mentioned earlier, let's just go to the bar chart component, handle it there. I like that way of development. I think it's going to be a much smoother system, and follows in suit of our other pages, or our other Kanban page, if you will. Because if we go to our Kanban page, we're at least on the developer side, this is how minimal it is and how good it looks, right? Where it's easy, we can easily navigate. This is what we need to change. No big deal. But now if we need to change a specific part, let's get a little bit more granular. Here we go. If we need to go to some sort of data component, like one of our base columns, or base columns holds base column, an array of base columns, right? We can handle it here. If we need to reorganize them, if we need to go to the base column, we can figure that out as well. It's not a big deal. But I like to keep our pages, right? All of these things in our app directory. Just boom, there they are. You know what I mean? Like it's as easy to see. We're just using the page or the parent to kind of construct all the Lego bricks and make sure they're laid out properly. I think that's a very smart way to do this, and I think it's good. I think it's proper. Probably need to change out the favicon. So we're getting to about that point where, again, I think users would be obviously huge touch up and stuff like this. We need to maybe shrink the application a smidge. So I'm looking on it, just massive, right? All these components are huge. Squeezing off the screen and all that stuff. So what I can do, I believe, is let's at least consider this for now, is just say scale 90. Boom, right? Scale maybe even 75, right? We could do something like this. But that's not really shrinking the application how I'm thinking of, right? So let's because that's kind of how I roughly want the application to sit. Something like this, a little more optimized. I think it looks proper, right? We need to, I think tackle that. Let's see what's next, so we can think about it, ideate on it. Especially, I'm on 10% battery life. Folks. So the third tab would kind of be the teams, projects, users tab, but we can almost ship the application if we just figure out the users now, and just deprecate that third tab for now, or just wait for us to integrate it, and then I think we just build a landing page around it, like maybe a little bit, and I forget. I think it was this one that we wanted to build. We could kind of build for it. I don't think it would be horrible. Hours spent, completed task. I don't know how we do hours spent. Maybe you'd have some sort of way to tell the task how long it took. We could set a timer on the task when it gets inducted into the backlog, and then when it goes to the done column, we can count that as the hours. So, but that would be an extreme amount of hours. Maybe that, according to a 40-hour work week or something, might be an idea of how to tackle that component. Skills development, maybe we can measure that by categories, right? How many different categories that a person completed these tasks in. If they completed 3 tasks in this category, maybe that we'll call that a skill or something. Just some ideas. And we also don't have to stick to this too. That's the beautiful part. We just want to think of valuable functionality that our end users will use. So end of the day, though, I think we do need to build the team or the user page or some sort of user, right? Initially, we definitely need that in our database. And then this is the additional stuff, is when you kind of start building teams. So users can have teams, projects can have teams. And then we also build projects, which is like all of what we're looking at right now could just be one project. So maybe there's an ability to shift from project to project. Maybe we labeled this our Kanban project, and this is our Kanban project, right? With this set of specific tasks according to this project. And then maybe we could change to a different project, some sort of like drop down scroll. Maybe we're working instead of on like an Apple iOS phone. Maybe the new project is an Android software. In reality, you should probably produce that in Xamarin or some sort of dual repo, but let's just pretend, you have a project for like Android and a project for Apple. That would be the ability here. Is like you could click down, go to a different project, or maybe manage it some other way, maybe here as well. Maybe there's a auxiliary screen above this that we can enter the projects we want. So, and if we did that, we need like a project sign up flow of who's going to be part of that project, who owns the project, which task. A lot would go into it, right? So that can be as big as of a lift as the last 30 episodes took to build this. That could even be larger, to be honest. But I do like the idea of tackling the users kind of next, and maybe some of these other just cherry on top functionalities and fixing the bugs I need to fix and the reactivity issues. That's all stuff I think I'm going to work on behind the scenes for a bit, guys. But thank you so much for watching the Code Chronicles. I'm loving it. I really enjoy building this, and I actually got to show it off today, which was really, really enjoyable for me. So I really appreciate it. And again, thank you so much for watching. I'm looking forward to the next episode. Cheers.